So today in Crypto Analysis, we're gonna talk about this huge breakthrough that we just had and how breaking this 6.8k level was so important, and we can actually start looking forward into this bull run. I'm also gonna explain some of the reasons behind this and potential take profit levels. And also something that I want to emphasize right now is that from my previous video, you have to learn about your mistakes. So right now, one of the mistakes that I'm learning from is taking profit. So right now I did take some profits in here, and I'm actually going to explain a bit of my strategy towards the near future and how you can actually profit even more. I'm also going to be talking a little bit more about leverage trading and how you can use that as a tool in order for you to profit in a very healthy way, in a very kind of a risk-free way, and also how you can cascade those profits into altcoins for further enhancing your investments. So if you're curious about this, just chill and keep watching. Hello everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. This is your host, the Chicken Entrepreneur. And first of all, I want to say thank you for watching the channel and also looking at the videos. Right now, as I told you in the last video, well, I actually graduated from university, and right now I'm spending a little bit of time with my family, and we're actually in London as of now. And well, this was very important. I had to make a video about this. So excuse me if the video doesn't have the same quality, but you know, I have to think about the internet speed in here, and it's not the optimal scenario, but let's give it a shot here. So this level was extremely important, and if we discussed before, we discussed this head and shoulder pattern and how this level, this 6.8k level, was basically the neck of this pattern. From previous video, we can see that more or less the price that we can actually expect from this breakthrough can be around the 8k level. But of course, we need to think that once we break a resistance, we need to test it. You know, we're creating this kind of channel that I talked in recent videos, which basically we create new highs and then we create higher lows. So for instance, in here we had this downwards channel, as you see, and we had lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. And one of the things that you notice in here that we kind of broke, and why this pattern actually formed, is because we were trying to create a higher high in here to break this downtrend, but we couldn't do it in here, but we actually created a higher low. So that's the first step towards an uptrend, and this is why it's very important, this pattern and this formation called, well, in this scenario, the inverse head and shoulders. It's so important because of this reason. It's basically the beginning of a change in the trend. So right now what we're seeing is that a potential target pricing here, but we're also looking at some of the important lines in the past. For instance, this trend line that we've marked on previous videos from these lows can give us a really good indicator on when the price is gonna actually resist a lot. And this is actually very ironic because it's also touching the 100 EMA on the daily chart. So we know that there's heavy resistance in here, and that's why the price had to retrace. Now we need to think about how low can it actually retrace. So one thing that I would actually expect, and it would be pretty much normal, is that if the price tests this 6.9k level or this 7k level, and the reason for the 7k level is a very strong psychological number. You know, every 1,000 you have the idea psychologically that it's very important. So between these two, I would expect the price to actually go down. And I'm also going to give other reasons why we could see the price going down. So if we look at the stochastics right now, we know that we are actually having momentum and we're going to the uptrend right here. So that's a very strong indicator for the long term still. We're also seeing that we have not reached the overbought scenario like we've achieved in here. So we're basically in a perfect position to continue going. But if we look at the lower time frames, this is where things become particularly not bearish, but it seems that we've reached an exhausting point. And the reason is because here we've seen a divergence. So this is basically a bearish divergence when your RSI is going down, but the price is still going up. So whenever you see that, it's basically an indicator that the price is well overbought. But not only did we see this on this hourly chart, we also went over through it, and we actually broke through again through these very high levels in terms of RSI. And this is very important because right now it's aligning very much in the low time frames with the stochastics, and that's very important because we can see that this is gonna go down, at least in the shorter time. At least in the bigger picture, we have a lot of momentum, which is very good right now. So if we go to the 4-hour charts, we have something very similar. And what we're seeing is, for instance, the stochastic has been all the way in the overbought position, meaning that we should have run out of momentum, but the momentum is keep going right now. And also we had this divergence upon the bearish divergence. For instance, here, well, it was around here where we were having the RSI a little bit lower, but still the price was way beyond. So again, this is an indicator that we're probably gonna be losing momentum, which is pretty normal because we tested some levels that are really important, and I bet a lot of people got FOMO in here and they're buying, and that's also why we got this price in such a short period of time. I was expecting for it to take maybe 2 or 3 more days before we actually achieve this and maybe actually bounce a little bit from the 6.9k level. I wasn't expecting just to break it in the first go, but that's actually very good news. And just before going through the other topic with the altcoins, even if we look at the futures, basically we take a look at the longs in Bitfinex, we can see that people took profits. They are all taking profits because they know that even though these are relative low levels, there's still a lot of people that are very bearish. And of course, a lot of this comes into this news of a possible ETF for Bitcoin and how a lot of money, basically institutional investors coming, and we're talking about perhaps trillions and trillions of dollars. So even though that's coming, that's still speculation because we don't know if they're gonna get approved. So this is it for crypto analysis, and I'm gonna head to the discussion section right now. So for the discussion topic, I want to talk about altcoins and also a little bit about leverage trading. So basically the strategy that I've been following is trying to buy at these really low levels and keep my positions for a longer period of time. Of course, it would be kind of silly if I just kept on going without taking profits at very important levels, for instance, in here. So basically, it's kind of like a swing trading, but still taking profits along the way. So that's the strategy that I'm taking now. And some of the really important levels that I'm looking at are on the daily chart. So for instance, we've reached this point. I had one take profit at 7.25k. And I knew, I had this because I know that there's gonna be a little bit of resistance in here. And if there's enough resistance, the price might be pushed down up to 6.9, where I have other pending orders for buying even more. Then I have another, basically a take profit around 7.8k, which is basically testing this downtrend, and this is a very important level. So you want to take profit at those levels just to ensure that if it bounces back, you're gonna still be profitable. I mean, worst case scenario, even if it doesn't bounce and it breaks, I'm still gonna be in the trade, but at least I'm gonna secure some profits. And then after that, I'm basically just taking almost every 1,000. If we look at previous highs, there's a really important level around this 9K because of these highs, and the next level would be around 10K. Finally 11.5K. And the reason I'm taking it right now is because what I want to do is actually, whenever the price goes up, I'm gonna take profit and I'm gonna set the same amount lower. So if the price comes down, I'm gonna be still having the same investment power, but in reality I'm gonna take profit out. So that profit is gonna go somewhere. And something else that I want to talk about is how you can cascade your profits into altcoins. So basically there is this like cycle. Whenever people feel really bullish about Bitcoin, you've seen that the coin market cap, the Bitcoin dominance increases. And the thing is that Bitcoin is basically like, let's say like the index. It says is your primary cryptocurrency. So everyone's gonna invest in there before, and this is gonna gain momentum. And once after this gains momentum, people start selling this and put it into altcoins, and that's why you start having altcoins rising. And this is the opposite in the bearish position. So for instance, if you've seen, most of the altcoins went down like heavily, like even heavier than Bitcoin did at some point. And the reason is because people change, they have to change first into Bitcoin or Ethereum, and then they have to sell. So that's why there is this cascade of, let's say, profits or money between the altcoins and Bitcoin. So what I'm doing basically right now is I'm trying to do leverage trading just to have a goal in this swing trading in order to enhance my investment power. Then with those profits that I make, I'm gonna put them into altcoins. And the reason is because once Bitcoin goes bullish, whenever Bitcoin starts going down, the money is gonna go into the altcoins. So that's basically how you can really solidify your investment power for the longer time. Of course, if you only want to make quick profits, this is really not the best thing to do, but I really believe in the technology. I know this is life-changing, and it's already changing the world. And just quickly, before the news, I just want to talk about two altcoins that I'm really looking forward to. And if you've seen news regarding Coinbase, they actually said that they were gonna have a look and they were gonna investigate if they would put these different altcoins into Coinbase, for instance. So I have Stellar here, and I also have 0x. And something that we've seen very quickly in Stellar is that in regards to Bitcoin, it has been in a kind of like a downtrend. We had a very similar scenario of what we had with a triple bottom. Let's say we have a huge resistance here. But right now we've broken this trend line, and this is very, very important because we are seeing that the price is going into the altcoins already. It's already breaking. So you really have to be like a sniper and really put this into perspective. For instance, we even had here this divergence. The RSI was going down, but the price was going up, and that's also the reason why this went down very, very quickly. And we have another very, very important resistance in here. And something that I'm expecting is that as Bitcoin keeps going up, whenever it starts reversing, we're gonna see some pump into these altcoins. We also have this 0x, and it's the same scenario. We had kind of like a downtrend, then it broke up. Now it has retested this level, and now it's on its way up. And we have this kind of like very important resistance level when the price is going up and then going down. So these are basically two of the altcoins I'm looking at to cascade some of the profits that I've made from this leverage trading. So let's go to the crypto news section right now. So for today, crypto news, we've been having this ETF sort of deal going on where we can potentially have institutional investors coming into the market, and this is very, very important. And the reason, if again, I've been talking about this very, very good channel, which is the Moon, and Carl has been talking on this in more detail. So you should check his channel. I'm gonna link it at the end of the video. Well, a really important thing is that you're letting people invest in a kind of more secure manner, at least for more money. So it really needs this news. It's Bitcoin reclaims 6.6k. Altcoins gain up to 9% today as ETF giant BlackRock eyes crypto. So I'm just gonna read some of the things in here, and then I'm gonna explain a little bit further. So crypto markets are on the upswing today as the data 6.6k level. So today's notable market growth is likely bolstered by news that 6.3 trillion asset management heavyweight BlackRock, the world's largest provider of exchange-traded funds, is beginning to assess potential involvement in Bitcoin, according to reports from the Financial News. So this is not the first ETF. It's actually, there's one that's gonna be approved or rejected on August 10th. But we are seeing right now that all these people actually want to go back, and one of the things is that Bitcoin is at really low prices, and that's one of the reasons. And if you have heard Carl's channel, we are trying to be the smart money. We're trying to put Bitcoin where people think it's gonna collapse, where people think it's basically dead, and that's where we put the money. And the reason is because it's at its cheapest, right? At least for me, it's been a tough battle, and I think for a lot of traders, because whenever you're on the downside and you start putting more and more, it becomes really risky, because all the you have all these kind of a gap that you can achieve, and it's basically possibilities are endless. But when the price is going down and people are really bearish, it's really difficult to survive. So this is just great news, and I'm just gonna read the final part. Today's significant news from BlackRock is likely to invigorate the narrative that institutional investors have been bidding their time to enter the cryptocurrency markets at an opportune moment. Over the weekend, CNBC trading advisor Ran Unner went so far as to venture that once the institutional behemoths are in 2017's bull run for crypto would come to look like a warm-up. And that's something that we've discussed. A lot of people think that Bitcoin is a bubble right now, but in reality, if you look at the prices and you look at what I've said in previous videos about how this is nothing in comparison to Forex, 7 trillion in volume or even more right now. This is nothing in comparison to the stock market. Just companies as Apple, it's in the trillions. This doesn't even have a trillion right now. And if we go and take a look at the coin market cap right now, it's around 300 billion. Let's refresh this, but yeah, it should be around 300 billion, and the all-time highs was around 800 billion. So here you can see that huge potential. Yeah, it's actually 300 billion right now. So even if we talk about 1 billion right now, which is higher than the all-time highs, we're talking about a Bitcoin price being higher than 20k. So this brings the idea that at the end of this year, we are most likely to see the price way beyond the 20k. I don't really want just to speculate and just say this is gonna happen, because the market can go very different ways, and there's this saying, buy the rumor, sell the news. So basically a lot of people could be buying right now because they expect these ETFs, and then whenever they go out, people are like, oh, they don't really want to buy it, and they're gonna sell. I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's gonna be very interesting, because if this comes out as planned, a lot of people are gonna invest in Bitcoin, and a lot of people are gonna invest in other cryptocurrencies, and this is why this is so good news, and why this bump, or that's how Carl described it, like a speed bump, is just a very small part of what Bitcoin is really gonna be. And again, we've explained very important facts about Bitcoin, how it's decentralized, and we've also spoken about how it's it has no inflation at all. Oh well, it has right now, but there's gonna be a point where there's no more Bitcoin. There's not gonna be any more mining, basically, and it's gonna be very important and very interesting to see what happens there. But anyways, guys, I just want to end this video here. Please let me know what you think about all this. This is extremely good news, and it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens next. And just before I go, remember, stay smart, stay bold, but most important of all, stay cheeky. Take care, guys.